Okay, it is 7 p.m. I will go ahead and call this regular city council meeting to order for May 26, 2020. And if we could all say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ballinger.
Here.
Weiss.
Here.
Rhines.
Here.
Gilroy.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
All right. We did not hear from Councilman Bizzard earlier, so I will go ahead and move on to the approval of the agenda for this evening. If there's any amendments that we would like to make to it.
This is Noah. I'll make a motion to approve the as headed.
Second Weiss.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Could I have a roll call for that, Barb?
Bellinger.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Rhines.
Yes.
Gilroy.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Rowland.
Yes.
All right. We have an opportunity for audience participation. Holly, do we have any additional guests?
We do not.
Okay. All right. So I'll just move forward then. Council meeting minutes for May 11th. I'm looking for approval unless there's any changes that need to be made.
Motion to approve the minutes from May 11, 2020, Weiss.
Thank you.
Second Rhines.
Thank you. All right. Can I have a roll call on this, Barb?
Weiss.
Yes.
Rhines.
Yes.
Gilroy.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Rowland.
Yes.
Bellinger.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Noah, you were able to take a look at accounts payable. Thank you so much for the very detailed email with your questions. So I will go ahead and turn that over to you right now.
Okay. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve checks 73170 dated 5/8 of 2020 through check 73215 dated 5/15/2020 and the total of $62,749.14. And then if there's any additional questions or whatever, the floor is open. If anybody has anything other than what we identified between Jeff and myself and what Corey and the staff have answered.
Yeah, I think all those questions were great. Thank you, Jeff and Noah, for bringing those forward. And Corey, thank you for your detailed email back.
I'll second Noah's motion.
Great.
Right.
Thank you, Dan. All right. If there's no further questions regarding any of the accounts payable, Barb, will you call roll, please?
Bellinger.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Rhines.
Yes.
Gilroy.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Rowland.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Let's see. We are right on schedule. And our next item on our agenda is our budget public hearing for the 2020 through 2021 fiscal year budget. That looks like we could, can we go ahead and start at 1 minute early, Holly? 7:04?
Well, it's 7:05.
7:05? All right. Oh,
7:05.
all right. Well then, all right. I'll call this public hearing for the fiscal year budget to order at 7:05. Corey, I'll go ahead and turn over to you.
Corey, you're muted. Can't unmute you. There you go.
There. Oh, nope, you're muted again. There you go.
There you go.
All right, thank you. I really don't have anything further to add based on discussion from our May 4th work session. The only thing I thought might be helpful to just have a brief comment on is the calculated millage rate that was advertised in the public hearing ad is slightly lower than our millage rate from last year due to the Headley amendment rollback. And if there's any specific questions, I would ask Rachel to chime in on that. But I did just want to note that because that is a change from our millage rate. I think has been the same for the last 2 years, but it was slightly rolled back going for July 1st.
Thank you, Corey. Does anybody have any questions for Rachel regarding this? No? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Because this is our public hearing, and Holly, we haven't had anybody else join in, correct?
Correct. Nobody has joined.
Okay. All right. So with that, I will, I'm looking for, do I have to look for a motion to close the public hearing?
You
No?
can close
All right.
it.
Okay, all right. If there's no questions regarding the information that Corey has shared, I will move to close this public hearing at 7:06. All right, we have 2 action items this evening. The first is LEAP Art Grant Agreement and agreement with, Holly, help me out with the pronunciation of that.
Nick Gavrilidis.
Okay, so Gavrilidis Property Management. So Holly, I'm going to turn this right over to you because this is really exciting, especially, you know, with everything that's going on.
So LEAP has a standard agreement that we've had our attorney review and make some revisions to. He has approved it as to form. This just kind of lays out everything for the $10,000 grant that we'll receive to do the project for the murals. We also have another agreement that will protect the city between the bistro and the city to just protect our project so that they are not, you know, painting over it and everything or wrecking it.
Okay,
So we just need approval of the 2 motions but separate approvals of the 2 motions that are before you
Okay.
for consideration.
and Holly,
Jeff Weiss
really
has raised
quick,
his hand.
there is no cash match that we have to do. This is a $10,000 award from LEAP for community art.
Correct. It's just the $10,000. It's no city contribution.
Okay,
Jeff Weiss has raised his hand.
okay, Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, just a question. Holly, have we chosen the artist yet, or is that going to be
No.
open for artists to apply, or how's that
Yeah.
going to go? Do you know?
What's going to happen is we work with LEAP and we'll get an RFP together and we'll get that sent out to Michigan artists, and then we'll get concepts back, and everybody will need approval of the final concept. So it won't be just, you know, whatever an artist wants up there. It'll be something that, you know, the business owner and the city all want to see on that building. So
Awesome.
Great.
Thank
Good
you.
question. Thank you,
Covered.
Jeff. Any other questions for Holly regarding this very, very cool thing that's going to be happening in the hopefully not too distant future? No? All right. I am looking for somebody to bring forward the motions for this action item.
I make a motion to approve the Public Art for Communities Grant Program 2020 contract agreement between the Lansing Economic Partnership, also known as LEAP, and the City of Williamston, Rhines.
Holly, you want these both in separate motions, correct?
correct.
Okay. So I'm looking for support for the first motion.
Support.
Support Weiss.
This is Noah, and I'll support it. Yep.
Okay, great.
Either one
Thank
of
you.
us.
Barb, will you call the roll for this, for the first motion?
Gilroy,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking for somebody to put forward the second motion, please.
I make a motion to approve the Public Art for Communities Grant Program Agreement between the City of Williamston and Gavel Reedy's Property Management Williamston LLC, Rhines.
Thank you.
Second, Weiss.
All right, thank you. Barb, will you call the roll for the second motion, please?
Smith. Smith,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Next action item is the 2019-2020 budget amendments. Rachel, this is all you.
All right, so in front of you is the memo I prepared for the necessary budget amendments to end the fiscal year coming up the end of June. Each department, or I'm sorry, each fund will need a separate motion. That's why I listed them in 4 separate areas on that first requested action paragraph. Something that I noticed while I was doing it, and I was really excited to see, because it's the first time that it's happened, probably since I've been here, that each of the amendments, the net effect on fund balance was 0, which means we were able to increase revenue, either increase revenue in the fund to cover the additional expenses, or we were able to cut expenses in other departments. And so I think that really is indicative of what a great job that staff is doing on trying to manage their budgets. And I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of that.
Rachel, thank you so much. And I'll echo that. Thank you so much for, the hard work and everything that happens around this city to give us this, because that's great. I appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions for Rachel before I ask for motions? All right, Rachel, you spelled this out really, really well. So I am looking for somebody to bring forward the motion for item A, the 101 general fund.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget amendments for General Fund 101 as presented. Smith.
Thank you. Do I have a support?
Bellinger, support.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, Barb, will you call the roll for item A?
Roland,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes. All right, now I'm looking for a motion for item B, the 202 local street fund.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the budget amendments for Local Street Fund 203 as presented. Smith.
Thank you. Do I have support?
Bellinger,
Weiss.
support.
Thank you.
I beat you, Jeff.
Barb, will you call the roll for item B?
Weiss,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy,
We lost Tammy.
Gilroy,
Yes.
okay. Roland,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Can you hear me, Barb?
yes.
Okay. All right.
Moving on, motion to approve the budget amendments for the Sewer Fund 590 as presented.
Thank you. Support?
Support
Second,
Weiss.
Rhines.
Thank you. Barb?
Roland,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy.
Yes. All right, looks like we have the last item, item D, 661 Equipment Fund.
Motion to approve the budget amendments for Equipment Fund 661 as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a support?
Second, Rhines.
Thank you, Dan. Barb, last roll call, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Roland.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That concludes our action items for this evening's agenda. We did not have any discussion items listed. We did not receive any correspondence, so I will move right along to the department head reports. Corey, great report as always, very thorough, detailed. Does anybody have any questions for Corey regarding his report?
I have one question regarding the flooding down along Howard Dahlstrom Park. I know after that that area flooded previously a few years ago, we did some repairs and some changes to the lift station there, and I was wondering how well they performed and was everything up to snuff with that?
You want me to answer that for you?
Yes.
Thanks,
Okay.
Scott. Yes, please.
The money that was invested for those repairs, it performed very well. We the dry side was high and dry as we had hoped. The water didn't get high enough to get to the parts that we haven't had the opportunity to move yet, and that's the electrical parts. That's the additional phases of this work. But the most susceptible thing where the water came in before, that's all higher now. So it worked the way it was supposed to. You know, you do get excess water that comes in through the manhole lids and things like that, but that's to be anticipated. It didn't cause us any issues in that part of the sanitary system. So the flows at the wastewater treatment plant were up and elevated for several days. And as I think Corey reported there, we did have to report to the state that we had some partially, I guess what's technically partially treated waste, because we had to turn off the air pumps to part of the process so that the solids don't float out into the river. But our testing came back good. We don't anticipate there to be further issues with that.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott. Any other questions for Scott regarding that?
No. Hey, Scott. Below
Any
the
other questions
plant-
for Corey?
Well, I have a question for Scott, please.
All right. Thank you,
Scott,
Corey.
Scott, below the plant, we had
Moving
some-
on, we have Chief. Wait. Or I lost my connection. Nope. There's everybody.
hear us.
Yeah, Noah
Oh,
had a
hi.
question.
Has a
Oh, okay. My internet's going in and out. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
No. No, I was just going to ask Scott real quickly. Below the plant a couple of years ago, some of the banks washed out, and we had some different areas of below. Was there any additional damage done by the higher waters this time? Because one part right at the end of the sewer plant.
Are you talking about the riverbank near the sewer plant there?
Yes.
Okay, that area is still washed out. Every time the water comes up, a little bit more goes. Nothing catastrophic, but it's still something that's out there that needs to be dealt with.
Okay. Thanks for the update.
Yep.
Thank you, Scott. If there's no other questions for Corey or Scott, I will move along to Chief.
Nothing to report.
All right. Any questions for Chief? Anybody? Oh, all right. We also received a building department report from AGS that you're able to read through. I don't know if anybody had any questions regarding that. Certainly Corey could probably pass those along to AGS. Moving along then to subcommittee reports. I know we have not had a lot of meetings. We did have EDC and TIPA that met to approve their budget, and also DDA met to approve their budget so that we can get ready to push forward the city budget for 2021. EDC TIPA representative, want to share anything?
I filled in at EDC TIFA last week. We approved the budget, and they actually changed their meeting dates from Thursdays to Mondays, so that they made that change. And then they had a discussion item regarding Elevator Street, and the city and the EDC TIFA came into how would you describe the agreement? What's the technical term for the agreement the EDC TIFA came to with the investment group? For a letter of understanding, or?
Yes. Yep.
There was a letter of understanding last fall with this group looking at the ice house, and there was some discussion. That group is still interested, but there will have to be some upgrades made to the street, at least a sewer main brought into that, in front of that building for that development to happen, along with the possibility of further developing Elevator, depending on how much the entire project cost. So we gave the go-ahead to engage with an engineer and basically see what it's all going to cost and entail, how far they wanted to go with that.
Great, thanks, Dan. As far as DDA, we had a great meeting. One area of focus is the completion of the new parking lot behind the bistro, the pharmacy, the hardware. There still is a little bit of a concern regarding employee parking in the parking lot directly behind. Corey's had some conversations with the hardware store owner regarding some possible solutions and how we can try to resolve that. Couple items were possibly timed parking, posting signs back there. The hardware actually asked if they could buy 3 parking spots and then ticket and tow at their own discretion. And so we had a really good conversation regarding that and how we want to move forward. So we've kind of tasked Corey with, continuing to work on that. But other than that, things are not really very busy downtown, for obvious reasons. But hopefully, we'll start to see some of our businesses reopen sooner rather than later, depending on executive orders and how those are put out. I think if there was a bright spot in this, if anybody's looking for anything from Studio Shop, we'll meet you at a predetermined time, so you can schedule a time to go in. So he's not open to the public, but he will meet. And I know a lot of the different downtown businesses are doing kind of like a porch pickup or something like that. One sad item that came out of this, is our Williamston Theater, and Emily Sutton Smith, gave us a not great outlook for the theater, and with them, trying to socially distance inside the theater. Typically their demographic is older, an older generation. So how to make that work? They've had to cancel the rest of the season. They possibly will not have any plays until, Corey, did she say the beginning of next year? And it would be limited to 3 plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did ask her about outdoor theater, because I know that some play troupes will do outdoor theater, and I suggested the band shell, but that's just not something that their actors union does. So it'll be interesting, to see how they move forward. But, definitely share the word with all your family, friends, anybody that's close, that there are some businesses that are doing, like the popcorn and the movie snacks that you could pick up. They publish their dates on Facebook of when they're going to be open, and I think they have it on their marquee outside. I know 141 Design, you can place orders online. They'll ship. The Golden Dandelion has had a tremendous online response and has done, that's been able to keep them afloat. They kind of changed their business model, and they do more online sales and live video on Facebook, which is great. Seems like all the restaurants are still doing okay with, takeout only. But, just hoping for our downtown to get back to normal sooner rather than later.
Hey, Tammy,
Yes, go ahead.
do we have any local business owners offering up ideas on how to, for example, let's use the theater as an example of,
Sure.
doing some level of testing before people enter, and then, even before that.
Sorry, Jeff. I don't know if you can hear me, but you just cut out on my end.
Everyone else hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, so basically just wondering if, and I don't know if Corey, you can chime in on this as well, but, is anyone talking about, bringing some sort of testing to their front door in a theater situation, right? Where in this example, if, they do a test or send out a survey to their known customers that are on some mailing list. Hey, do you want us to open? Would you be willing to assume the risk? Like, do we have any level of data or efforts that business owners are leaning into to make it feel safer for people?
Corey, I'll let you take that.
Yeah, during the DDA meeting, Emily from the theater, her discussion on this was what triggered the conversation. That sort of framework didn't come up at all. I can't recall if she said that some of their decisions regarding their patrons were informed by talking with their patrons or not, but she was very firm that they have an older crowd that is less likely to take that risk than if it was a different kind of crowd. I would have to follow up with her to get more specifics than that, other than what she shared at the meeting. But to answer it very explicitly, no, at least from our DDA businesses, and that's certainly not everybody, there was no discussion like that, and nor was it prompted yet.
Jeff, because we don't really have a merchants association like we used to have, merchants association would be able to really, help with, because they would be having that conversation with everybody downtown and would be able to share ideas, but we don't have that anymore.
Could that be shared through the Chamber of Commerce?
We could probably reach out to Bruce or to Tammy and ask them what, if they could survey their membership, specifically our downtown businesses.
Good idea.
Yeah, I think that would be.
Yeah, it's strange because one of the popular assumptions going on right now is that everybody wants the freedom again to assume their own risk, but I don't know how true that is.
Right.
And so if it's very true, that's one thing. If it's not true, that's another thing.
Right. Yep. Well, and I think you're seeing other communities kind of take a stand as a community as a whole, saying we have to reopen. I mean, South Haven was a perfect example of that just before the Memorial Day holiday kicked off, and they made the announcement as a group that they were that their businesses were reopening, irregardless of what the executive order was, because that's Memorial Day to Labor Day. Those towns like that, this is their time. And so we can reach out to the chamber and ask if they'd be willing to do a survey of their membership. I think that would be a good idea.
Hey, Tammy, do
it's
we, real quick,
Go ahead.
one last question. It's sort of off the agenda, but I was just wondering if Tim knows if this last lawsuit that the legislature lost, based upon the way they approached it, many opinions around that, but are there other ones out there that might change the outlook in the next couple weeks, or was that kind of it?
The legislature's lawsuit was a split decision with regard to the statutory basis for the governor's order. The court ruled that she did not have any authority left under the Emergency Management Act because that expired after the 28 days and the brief extension authorized by the legislature. But under the earlier act, the Emergency Powers of the Governor Act, they said the plain reading of that is that there's no time limit on it. And the governor has gone ahead and issued additional executive orders citing both acts and also referencing that there has been a decision, but that the decision could be changed on appeal, and that maybe even on an appeal, the governor will get authority under the Emergency Management Act as well. So there are other lawsuits. There's federal lawsuits. There are lawsuits brought by churches, and the governor's kind of backed off on that, but the language of the executive orders themselves said that the enforcement penalties would not be applied to churches. And as I understand it, there's an organized effort by gym owners to challenge the scope of the shutdown with regard to them. But as far as I know right now, theaters are still closed, as are other certain businesses like barbershops.
Nice one, Tim. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other discussion?
I guess just a quick question. Has there been any issue or blowback or any negative anything coming from our decision to open the parks up?
This is Corey. From an official perspective, like calls or emails to City Hall, I think it's been absolutely quiet. I'm not exactly sure what Facebook has to say. But yeah, for officially, there's been no feedback one way or the other.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll just kind of chime in there. Yeah, there was some blowback on Facebook, but I mean, it is what it is, and you take it with a grain of salt. You're never going to make everybody happy all of the time. For the most part, it was two individuals that were really beating it up, but that was it.
Yeah, from the posts that I saw, it was always just one or two people that was just stirring the whole thing.
Yep.
But seeing this weekend, seeing the families out there and the farmers market and all the stuff going on, you could tell people were just so hungry to just have that semblance of their lives back, so I don't know, they sure looked happy.
Yeah. Yep, I would agree. And I think that's just, it's personal. It's really up to the individual to determine whether they want to go in that type of setting and everything. And we can do the best we can. I think that we posted everything that we could from CDC, from Ingham County Health Department. And then it really is just, a personal responsibility. And if you don't feel that that's somewhere that you want to take your child or frequent, then that's personal responsibility. But I think that we've done everything right as a city, making sure that it's posted and that it's kind of an at your own risk type of thing. Holly, did we have anybody else join in as far as audience participation?
No, we did not.
All right, thank you. All right, I'll start with council member comments, and I see on my screen Jeff Rowland. Start with you.
I'm good, thanks. Good meeting.
All right, thank you. Gene Smith.
I'm all set. Thanks.
All right, Jeff Weiss.
All good, thank you.
All right, thank you. Dan Rhines.
We've had a lot of questions on Jubilee. The Jubilee Committee has been working really hard to try and figure out how we can do something this summer. We've looked at a lot of different options, looked over a lot of stuff, tried to do a lot of different avenues, and we're taking a bit of a wait and see as we're looking everything over, because we had the luxury of a little bit of time before we had to start spending any money on advertising or vendors or things like that. So we were trying to give ourselves as much room as we could. We're hoping to make an announcement by the end of the week exactly what we're going to do. But I know a lot of people have been hoping for some news on that, and we'll give you what we've come up with hopefully by the end of the week.
Yeah, thanks for talking with me today about that, Dan. I appreciate it. Thanks for the information. Noah.
Just a quick reminder, the Kiwanis are doing flags over Williamston, so you'll see a lot of us running around putting up flags for the businesses as well as private residents. So that's available. It's a real nice thing to do, and we put them up this weekend, and they'll stay all the way up through the rest of the summer. So, any
All right.
questions?
So if anybody,
give Terry a call.
and how much are they still? Noah, do you know what the cost is?
I don't know, but I can yell it. Hey Beth, what are the cost of the flags? $40 for the season.
Okay, great. So if anybody knows of anybody that needs a flag in their front yard, get a hold of Terry Nelson, through Kiwanis, Noah, or Noah. So yeah, I always like seeing them around town and in yards and everything. So I just wanted, it was not publicly advertised, but I just wanted to say thank you to Kent Hall and the VFW and for putting together a very informal Memorial Day down at the wall. This is definitely, a different time that we live in. I contacted him last Friday. He told me that they were thinking about doing something. He went through all the right channels. He checked with Chief, Pastor Mengen from the Hope Church out by Dietz, had the band there on basically their float trailer, and it was not a lot of people, but it was definitely something that I think was put together. It was something, it was the right thing to do. I don't know if anybody will, complain about the fact that there was a gathering down at the park, but it was a very nice short service. And I know I really appreciated the fact that they were willing to take that risk to do that. And that's all I have. I mean, it's hot out there. It looks like we might get a little bit of crazy weather here, but, I wish I could be a meteorologist and get paid for making predictions and not ending up with any rain, but it does look like there's going to be a little bit of weather. So that's all I have for this evening. I just want to thank everybody for being available this evening, and just keep doing what you're doing out there, and we'll get through this. And I'm sure we'll hear executive orders, but Corey and Tim, if something comes through regarding Open Meetings Act, or if there's any type of change like that, will you keep us in the loop?
Yes.
Great. Okay, well then I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting this evening at 7:39. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
The recording has stopped.